State Trooper Hank Delroy stepped into the empty bus with a shiver that wasn't caused by the weather. Something about the air inside felt, wrung out, like all the warmth had been squeezed away. Drivers not here. Passengers not here. No signs of struggle, his partner muttered, flipping open his notebook. Hank touched a seat cushion. Ice cold. Every seat. Every railing. Even the driver's wheel had a thin sheet of frost on it. And that wasn't normal. Not for late autumn. Not for a bus that had been running when they arrived. Hank noticed something else. At the very back seat, the seat fabric was still warm, like someone had just been sitting there. He put his hand over it. Warm. Human warm. His partner's eyebrows knit. And you're sure dispatch said the bus was drifting with no driver? Hank nodded. Then he saw the manifest. Names crossed out. All except the driver. And the handwritten line. Do not pick up after exit 9. He stared at it for a long time. I've seen this before, he whispered. His partner blinked. What do you mean? But Hank never answered. Because just then, his radio crackled. A voice, broken, trembling, static choked, forced itself through. Loey. Hank Delroy. Route 47, you have to listen. Hank froze. He knew that voice. It was Raymond Calder, the missing driver. Raymond. Where are you? More static. Then, clearer, a whisper. Don't let the road choose you. The radio went dead. The investigation deepens. Hank Delroy had been a trooper for 14 years. He thought he'd seen everything. He was wrong. The bus was towed to the Briarwood impound. Mechanics inspected it top to bottom. The heat system? Perfectly functional. The engine? Running flawlessly. The security cameras? The moment the man in the grey suit boarded, the footage distorted, lines tearing across the image like something clawing at the frame. After that, every passenger on camera glitched. Faces stretched, bodies blurred, vanishing like smoke. Only one figure stayed perfectly clear on every glitching frame. The man in the grey suit, sitting in the last row, staring directly into the camera lens. Hank felt cold just watching the footage. And then, frame 11 hours 57 minutes and 13 seconds. Raymond Calder turned in the driver's seat and looked directly at the camera. His lips moved silently. What is he saying? Hank whispered. A tech enhanced it. Raymond was mouthing. He's coming. The second bus. 3 nights later, at 12:13 a.m., dispatch received another call. A panicked driver on Route 47. Passenger vanished. Heat stopped. Something's on the road. White suit, staring. Then the call cut off. Hank jumped into his car, lights blazing. His partner followed in another vehicle. They found the bus at the same place as last time. Empty. Engine running. Frost everywhere. But this time, something new. On the road, in the fresh layer of frost, were footprints leading away from the bus. 2 sets. 1 human. 1 not. The second set were too long, too deep, and spaced too widely apart to be human. They stopped abruptly 10 feet from the tree line, as if whatever made them simply vanished upward. Hank kneeled, hand hovering over the strange prints. The road didn't take them this time, he muttered. His partner frowned. Then where the hell did they go? Hank stood. Where it always takes people. His partner hesitated. And where is that? Hank looked toward the long, empty stretch of Route 47 disappearing into darkness. The place on the other side. The hidden history of Route 47. Hank knew more than he'd ever admitted. Years ago, long before he'd put on the badge, his father had been a bus driver on Route 47. One night he came home pale, trembling, saying he'd seen a man at exit 9 who wasn't human. He warned Hank, never stop after exit 9. The road is hungry. Hank thought it was just a story. His father drank a lot back then. 2 weeks later, his father vanished on duty. His empty bus was found idling off Route 47, frost covering every seat, just like now. And the last person to see him? Another driver, who described a pale man in a grey suit boarding the bus. Hank had buried that memory for years. Until now. The driver's appearance. The next night, Hank sat in his patrol car near exit 9, waiting, watching. Midnight passed. 12:30 a.m. 1 a.m. Nothing. Then, headlights appeared in his rearview mirror. A bus. Route 47. But nobody was scheduled at this hour. Hank stepped out, flashlight in hand. The bus rolled to a stop in front of him. Doors hissed open. Cold air burst out, stinging his face. Inside the bus, every seat was empty, except the last row. Raymond Calder sat there, skin grey, eyes black, frost creeping across his clothes. "Raymond," Hank whispered. Raymond slowly lifted his head. "You came," he rasped. Hank stepped onto the first stair. "Where are the passengers?" Raymond's voice cracked. "They're on the wrong side of the road now." Hank swallowed. "What road? What does that mean?" Raymond leaned forward. "The road between worlds. The one he controls." "Who is he?" Raymond began to shake violently. "His." Every light in the bus blew out at once. Bang, bang, bang. The interior plunged into absolute darkness. Hank stumbled back, drawing his gun. Then a voice echoed from inside the bus. A calm, cold voice. "You should not have stopped at exit 9, Officer Delroy." Hank froze. He knew the voice. The man in the grey suit stepped into the doorway. Pale, expressionless, more shadow than human. His eyes reflected nothing, not even the flashlight beam. He tilted his head. "The road has chosen you." "The nightmare claims another." Hank fired. The bullets passed through the man like smoke. The man stepped down from the bus. Fog swirled around his shoes. "You seek answers," he said softly. "Then walk with me." Hank backed away. His breath froze in the air. "I'm not going anywhere with you." The man smiled faintly. "You already are." The world around Hank began to distort. The highway stretching into blackness. The trees bending unnaturally. All sound muffled like he'd stepped underwater. He spun around. His patrol car was gone. The world was gone. Only the bus remained. Raymond stood behind the grey-suited man. His eyes hollow. His voice a whisper. "I tried to warn you, Hank." Hank's heart pounded. "What do you want from me?" he shouted. The man in the grey suit raised one pale hand. "For you to drive." Hank blinked. "What?" The man stepped closer. "Every road needs a keeper. The last one tried to quit. You replaced him." Raymond lowered his head in shame. "I didn't choose this," he whispered. "They choose. The road chooses." Hank shook his head. "No, no, I won't." But the world snapped. Suddenly Hank was sitting in the driver's seat of the bus. Hands locked to the wheel. Engine rumbling. Frost crawling across the windows. He tried to move. Couldn't. Raymond sat in the back row, expression broken. "I'm sorry, Hank." The man in the grey suit stood in the aisle. "You will drive the lost," he said softly. "Those chosen to cross. Those taken by the night." The legend continues. At sunrise, a bus was found parked along Route 47. Empty. Keys in the ignition. Engine humming. Interior frozen. The manifest list had changed. All names crossed out. Except one. Hank Delroy, driver. Beneath it, in the same shaking handwriting. "Do not pick up after exit 9. And on the road that morning, commuters swore they saw a bus. A midnight bus. Lights dim. Frost trailing behind it. Driven by a man who looked strangely familiar. Eyes dark, expression haunted. Hank Delroy, the new keeper of Route 47. And in the last row, a pale man in a grey suit sat smiling softly, waiting for the next passenger foolish enough to stand at exit 9. The bus company listed Route 91B as discontinued, shut down years ago after a fatal crash during a violent winter storm. But every now and then, drivers passing through rural Pennsylvania reported something strange. A pair of headlights appearing behind them on an empty highway, a bus with an outdated logo, and a route number no longer in service. Most drivers ignored it, except Mason Walker, a 28-year-old night shift bus operator who prided himself on being fearless. On December 18th, near 1:07 a.m., Mason was finishing his uneventful run when dispatch radioed. "Walker, do you copy? Possible stranded passengers near mile marker 52. Check it out." Mason sighed. On it. He had no idea he was heading straight toward a route that wasn't supposed to exist. Snow drifted across the road, but there were no stranded passengers. Only a faint glow deeper in the fog, like the taillights of another bus. "That can't be right," Mason muttered. No schedule listed a bus at this hour. He pulled closer. The fog thinned for a moment, revealing an old bus, blue and white, the company's 1992 design, retired years before Mason was even hired. Its windows were fogged. Its engine was running. And on the front display, flickering weakly, 91B, last run. Mason's blood chilled. That route had been shut down after the accident. Everyone knew that. He stepped off his own bus and approached the old one. The air around it felt unnaturally cold. Something tugged at his instincts, telling him to walk away. Instead, he climbed inside. Inside the ghost bus, the interior smelled like wet metal and frost. Seats looked decades old, worn down. But the real shock: passengers were inside. Silent. Still. Frozen in place, eyes staring forward like mannequins. Mason stumbled back, trembling. "Hello? Can anyone hear me?" None reacted. Not even a blink. At the front, the driver sat motionless, head tilted as if asleep. Mason reached out and tapped his shoulder. The driver's head snapped upright. Mason gasped. The man's eyes were glazed white, frozen over, his lips blue. He stared at Mason with a stiff, crackling movement. "You're late," the dead driver croaked. Mason stumbled back. "WH what?" The driver pointed at the empty seat beside him. "You'll need to relieve me. The road is waiting." Mason backed toward the exit. I'm not replacing anyone." The driver's neck twisted far too sharply. "They all said that." The bus comes alive. Before Mason could escape, the bus doors slammed shut behind him. Lights flickered violently. A low humming filled the cabin, growing louder and deeper until the metal walls vibrated. The driver's dead hand moved to the gear shift, jolting the bus into motion. No, stop." Mason banged on the door. The dead driver didn't react. Or maybe he couldn't, because his fingers were stuck to the wheel, frozen into it. The bus accelerated on its own. Outside the windows, the highway shifted. Straight road turning into endless darkness, lane lines vanishing into black snow. Mason felt the temperature drop sharply. His breath came out as a white cloud. Passengers slowly turned their heads toward him, one by one, their necks cracking like snapping twigs. Mason tries to take control. Desperate, Mason lunged at the driver's seat. He grabbed the wheel. It felt like grabbing a chunk of ice. His fingers burned with cold. He tried forcing the wheel left, right, nothing. The bus moved like it wasn't touching the ground anymore. Mason Walker. The voice wasn't human. It echoed through the bus like layered whispers. Mason spun. Passengers' mouths were open wide, but unmoving. The voice again. From everywhere and nowhere. "You entered the forgotten route." Mason trembled. "I don't want any part of this." The dead driver's head tilted toward him with a horrible grinding sound. "You boarded. That is enough." The road changes. Outside, the highway stretched unnaturally long. No signs. No lights. Just black snow falling upward instead of downward. The bus sped faster. 70 miles per hour. 80 miles per hour. 90 miles per hour. But the engine didn't roar. It whispered. Mason forced himself toward the back of the bus where the passengers sat today. Their eyes followed him the entire way. When he reached the final row, he froze. Someone else was sitting there. Someone not frozen. Someone alive. A girl, maybe 16, curled up, hugging her knees, shaking. Her breath visible in the cold. She whispered, "You saw the bus too, didn't you?" Mason knelt. "Who are you?" "Emily," she whispered. "I got on the bus 5 years ago. I didn't know it wasn't supposed to stop." Mason's heart slammed. 5 years? That's impossible. You'd... "I haven't aged," she said. Tears froze on her cheeks. None of them have. The truth about Route 91B. Emily pointed at the ceiling. The accident didn't kill them. The road did. Mason frowned. "What does that mean?" Emily looked up, voice trembling. This route wasn't shut down because of the crash. The crash happened because the road took the driver. Mason felt the chill sink deeper. Emily crawled closer. Route 91B wasn't discontinued. It was erased. A loud metallic groan rolled through the bus. The sound of steel bending under terrible weight. Emily grabbed Mason's wrist. "If you stay here, the bus will claim you too. It always claims the ones who enter willingly." Mason shook his head. "There has to be a way off." Emily whispered, "There is." but you won't like it. The choice. The dead driver suddenly let out a horrible gurgling scream, twisting violently as if something inside him was trying to escape. Passengers' heads snapped forward all at once. The windows went pitch black, like tar covering them. The voice returned, deeper. You must choose, Mason Walker. Mason felt the bus shudder. Frost climbed his shoes. Choose what? He yelled. Emily whispered. You take the driver's place, or the road takes you forever. Mason stared at her. What about you? Emily lowered her head. I'm already marked. Mason makes his move. Mason refused to surrender. He sprinted toward the front as the bus tilted unnaturally, like it was turning without wheels touching ground. He grabbed the dead driver's hand and pried his frozen fingers from the wheel. The skin tore off like peeling ice. The bus screamed. A deep, hellish metallic roar. Emily shouted, "Don't touch him." But Mason already had. The driver's cold hand gripped his wrist with impossible strength. Its frozen mouth dragged open. You belong to the road now. Mason drove his elbow into the corpse's face. The head cracked backward like breaking porcelain. The bus lurched violently, throwing passengers sideways. Emily screamed. Lights burst overhead in a shower of sparks. The bus began to spin. The break in reality. The world outside split open. A crack in the dark, like someone tearing a curtain. Through it Mason saw a normal highway. Snow falling the right direction. Real headlights of real cars. The real world. Emily shouted, "Jump. Now." Mason hesitated. What about you? Emily smiled sadly. I'm not from there anymore. The dead passengers all turned toward him, eyes glowing faint blue. The driver screeched. The road whispered, "Stay." Mason threw himself toward the cracked opening in reality, leaping into blinding white snow. Mason returns. Mason hit the pavement hard, rolling onto the real highway. Cars screeched to a stop, horns blaring. Someone yelled for help, but Mason's eyes were fixed upward. The ghost bus faded like smoke in the night, its lights flickering out one by one until nothing remained. He lay there shaking, gasping icy breaths. He'd escaped. Barely. Paramedics loaded him into an ambulance. Police questioned him. But when he looked back at mile marker 52, an old, frost-covered bus sign lay in the snow. It said, Route 91B, last run. And on the back, etched by frost, one seat open. Don't let the next ride haunt you. If you enjoyed this chilling story, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss another terrifying True Nightmare video. Your support keeps these dark stories rolling. Stay safe, and stay away from empty midnight buses.